Hi friends, and welcome back to Violin Teacher YouTube channel. And today is a continuation of the Bériot Violin Method. And we're looking at this book, which you can download from a link in the description, that was last published in 1899. Now, a lot of our etude music and books are that old and older. So these are good. Bériot, by the way, was a prolific pedagogue. That's a person who teaches, and he actually started the Franco-Belgian School of Music. So I was interested to learn about his life. So here's a link right there to the first video, which was 45 minutes analysis of the beginning of this book. And now we are going to kind of zip through the playing and see what techniques we can learn. So let us look at second lesson, and this looks like it says a preparatory exercise for the left hand, and I want to make sure that his instructions are clear to you, because the language is quite often just kind of really, highfalutin. So we are told the fingers should be held in readiness for playing. Poised above the strings at a distance of about 1 inch. This will enable them to fall with precision and elasticity. Well, I don't know about elasticity, but I think that's pretty straightforward. Keeping the fingers poised over their places on the strings. That's good advice for us, okay? So looking at line 1, and remember, we are scanning the music first, and maybe even naming the notes and stuff. We only had open strings in lesson 1, but looks like lesson 2 we're going to use some fingerings. Look at the first line, and you see a 1 under the second note. So that's first finger on G. And notice how that ball, that what we call the head of the note, has moved up. It is not on the space under 2 ledger lines, which is G, right? It is moved up to the line now. So whatever goes through the center of that head is the note. And that's a line. That's a staff line. It's a ledger line, and it's moved up a step. So the musical alphabet, by the way, I should say, the musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's all the notes that you have to know. Then it starts over. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So when we are on G, and we are starting on open G at the beginning of line 1, aren't we? Now the note goes up a step. Well, what's after G in our musical alphabet? It's not H, so don't say H, okay? It's A, so we start over again. Now, let me clarify by saying we might have some notes in between there if we use sharps and flats. And a sharp, you can see some sharps at the lower portion of this page. I see some sharps there. And so we're going to talk about what they do first, but first we're going to look at line 1 only. And I just really want to talk about what we see in line 1, because all those notes have stems, right? In line 1. All those notes have stems. Well, oops, these don't. These first 2 don't, but all these do. But some are colored in, some are not colored in, some are not colored in and don't have stems. So that's 3 different kinds of notes that we have. And these are going to tell us how long the note will be played. Okay? So we talked about quarter notes, and we talked about half notes, which get 2 beats, and quarter notes get 1 beat. So when we take away the stem, and it's not colored in, that's a whole note. And you'll notice that in the measures where you see a whole note, where it's not colored in and there's no stem, you'll notice that that's the only note in the measure, right? After that, you see a bar line. See that right there? It's the only note, and then you see the bar line. Then again, whole note, bar line. So whole notes get 4 counts in 4/4 time. They get 4 quarter beats in the measure, and a good way to think of these whole notes are whole note 4 counts. So before we start playing, it would be a good idea if we play some whole notes on G string. So 4 beats, you have to hold the note, sustain the note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put 1 on G because we know that's the next note anyway. So let's do some whole notes on that note. Ready, play, whole note 4 counts, whole note 4 counts. Alright, so let's do some half notes now. You'll see that in line 1, what follows those 2 whole notes are half notes. So let's do open G, half notes, half notes, half notes, 2 beats, half notes. Alright, good. Let's play some quarter notes, 1 beat notes, 1 bow, 1 beat. Quarter, quarter, quarter. Good. So a funny game kind of would be if I call out quarter note, whole note, half note, and you play what that is. Let's try it. Alright, so quarter notes. Ready, go. Half notes. Whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Quarter notes. Half note. Quarter note. Whole note. Alright, so not only do we have what is called rhythm, which is what we were working on just there, is the rhythm, but we also now have to look at notes moving with fingerings and stuff. So in the first line, if we just scan that, we're going to find that we have open string and first finger in play on this line. So just look at the first 2 notes and look at the 1, how it's moved up onto the line. And then scan your eye over and see how many of those are in the line there, because they didn't put a 1 next to them this time. And especially in the quarter note measures, you can see where that is a little, maybe they're kind of close together. So you can look at measure 1, 2, 3, 4, where the quarter notes begin, and they look kind of similar, really, if you don't look at them as space note, line note, space note, line note, space note, line note. So really be careful there. All right, and let's see if there's anything else before we play. Okay, so I think that's it. So let's begin. Remember to keep that pulse. It's like a heartbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Whole note. 2, 3. Set 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes. Set 1. Quarters. Whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. End. That's the end because we have a double bar. Okay, good. So we're already into kind of 10 minutes or so into our video, but we are going to continue all the way through the page today. The same exercise on the other strings. Now let's just scan line 2. Whole notes using first finger. It looks like we're on D now, right? And then, so So he's taken, here's what's happening here. He has taken a little shortcut. And can you tell? It says the same exercise on the other strings, but he doesn't write it out. He just puts etc. at the double bar. And there's 3 double bars. There's 2 in the middle of the line, and there's 1 at the end of the line. So he just gives us the beginning, and then he wants us to place our fingers and do our half notes and quarter notes and stuff as it appeared in line 1. So I'm going to play that for you, and then you can play it. You can stop the video and practice it. So here it is on the D string. Good. So I see some merit now in this exercise, even though he didn't write it out on all strings, which for a beginner, I'm getting the impression really this isn't for a beginner. This is for someone who's been playing a while and wants to learn to read music. So that's you, isn't it? Good. So the merit is the point he made at the beginning, and that is to keep your finger close to the string because we're going gradually faster. So if you're pointing way up here, then going back during the quarter notes part, that's going to be tricky. So the task is to read the rhythm, but to keep the finger just a little bit. If you look down your string too at your first finger, is that an inch away? I think really a ½ inch is probably max. Keep it close. Alright, I'll do this on the A string for you now. Ready? Go. Now on the E, here we go. Ready, play. Okay, and now let us look at line 3. Introduction of second finger. Okay, do you see the third note in the line? Second finger. That little clear ball has moved up and now is a space note, but it only has 1 ledger line below the staff. Talking about line 3, measure 3 now. So that can't be called G because it's not. It's 1 step higher than the A, which is first finger on G. So what is the note? The first note after G in our musical alphabet is A. We just determined that, right? Now what's the next note after A? That should be easy for you. It's a B, isn't it? It is a B natural. And B natural occurs, sits on the string a whole step away from the 1. It's like that. So when we play on the G, we have a regular 1 and second finger sitting a whole step up. Alright, scanning the music now, it looks like we have 4 whole notes in the beginning. So be careful of that. And he's adding more measures here because we are using the second finger. So it would be good to stop the video here and scan the line and name the notes. G, A, first finger, second finger B, first finger A, G, 1, 2, 1, open like that. And then you can also clap the rhythm or somehow feel the rhythm. So I'll tell you how I like to do this so you can feel the rhythm. And you can count the whole notes like this. Whole note, 4 counts. So you give it a little whirl like that. Doesn't make a sound because you're indicating duration, aren't you? Whole note, but it's the beat, and you feel the beat, and you're counting, and you're aware of the beat when you do the whole note. Yeah, the whole note. So here we go. Whole note, 4 counts. Now, with that information, how do you think it would be a good idea to do half notes? Half note. So you feel that second pulse, but you don't make a clap on it. Okay? And then quarter notes, get 1 clap. Alright? Whole note. So you could go through the whole line and do it like that. Okay, so let us play line 3 now. We have open, we have 1, we have 2. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Half notes coming up. Whole note. Okay, so he changed the rhythm, the direction of the musical line, didn't he? Hopefully you didn't decompose the line there. Okay, so he wants us to do the same exercise that we just played on all the other strings. Now that I've showed you how to do that, I will leave that to you, and we will proceed to the next line now. In the next line, we are introduced to the third finger on whole notes. Now, third finger with no sharps and no flats, as we have, in this exercise. Third finger will sit right next to the second finger. It is a half step away from the second finger. And the 1 and 2 have a whole step between them. All right, so 4 beats. Here we go. Ready, and we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line, all whole notes, and watch for those third fingers. That clear ball has moved up onto the last ledger line below the staff. And I must ask you, do you know what it is? What's his name? It is a C. Okay, so we have G, A, B, C. Great, let's do it. 1, 2, ready, play. Good. How did it come out for you? Don't worry about vibrato. Just get the right notes, get a decent sound, get the right rhythm. There's a lot of information. We are looking at the page now. We're not looking at our bow or our fingers. We're just don't even know what it sounds like until we play it, right? So that's kind of the excitement of reading, sight reading, is that we don't know what to expect. And that's what makes it fun. Okay, the next line, it looks like we're going to involve half notes, quarter notes, a whole note at the end, and we will have first finger, A, second finger, B, natural, third finger, C, natural, involved in this line. Here's a good spot to stop the video and clap and say the names of the notes and get some kind of an idea of what's ahead as we change. I'll play it for you now. Here we go. Half notes, ready, play. Keep your fingers poised above their places, at least an inch, no further away. Good. Now, if we'll look to the next line, he once again has not written it out on all strings. He wants you to do the same exercise on all the other strings, and that would be good. It would be good if he had written them out, because we're learning to read, and we should know what those notes look like. And we should be following along, following our eyes along in, like, on the E string. You know, we're not getting that from this book. We're just getting what G string looks like in this melody. So, sorry about that, but Bériot didn't give us that. Maybe that's not the important thing right now. Maybe the important thing right now is just to keep your fingers above the strings. So, let's move on. You'll do that on your own. Let's see what's in store for the next line. Looks like, I'm just looking at this line because it looks very similar. Okay, we have an introduction of the fourth finger, using the fourth finger as open instead of open D. So I'm looking 1, 2, 3 lines back, and I'm thinking all half notes again, but if you scan the line, you'll see that after 3, he has put a D, which we know what a D is. We play with open we play it with open string. But in this case, a 4 is under that. 4 is under that, which means we have to play fourth finger on G and not open D. So all these notes are going to be on the G string, no open D. Get it? So this is the introduction of fourth finger. Here we go. Ready? Play. So learning how to read music from the G string really does require that the elbow stay under a lot, really far under, doesn't it? Just like he mentioned in the beginning when he wanted you to stay well under the violin with your hand position and your elbow. So hope you used your fourth finger in that line. Next line we are going to do another exercise just like we've been doing on the G, and we're going to use fourth finger, but we're going to do it on a half note this time. This will be the last line of our exercise today, but you will have some homework. You will have to do them all on the other strings, and the reason is that he wants you to keep the fingers close to the string when they're not playing. So don't lift them way up, and I believe that is the point of the second lesson in this book. So let's finish it out now. This is the second to the last line. Half notes, ready, go. Quarter note. Whole note. 1, 2, 3. So you really have a lot there to absorb. You have all the fingers have now been introduced. You have fourth finger. Hopefully that technique isn't too difficult. You have to do that exercise on all the strings without having it written out. So it's sort of like you almost have to do it on the G and then memorize it, or just follow along, and it's not that, I don't think you will have that much trouble with it. If you have any problems, leave me a question in the comments section, and hopefully you're enjoying this review of the Bériot Violin Method, and we are going to kind of muscle through this whole book, so I hope you will enjoy it. If so, like the video and come back for the next tutorial. Thanks so much for watching.